Okay, let's move on to another tool. Before we do that, let's turn off the visibility of this manual. And let's get back to our background layer. So select that. No visibility on anything but the background, and it should be selected. We're going to make a new adjustment layer. And this one is also going to be a levels adjustment. But let's rename it right away. We're going to call this one Eyedropper Levels. All right, we have launched a levels adjustment panel up here, and we've been doing it with the sliders. We've been going channel by channel, but something we haven't done yet is we haven't worked with these three eyedroppers over here. And you can tell that it's as if they've sampled some color. This one has black, a gray, and a white. So this is your black point sampler, your white sampler, and your neutral gray sample point. So we're first going to kind of look at this image, and we're going to try to figure out where things need help. So the purpose of the gray point eyedropper, is different. Black picks a black point, white picks a white point, or sets the white point. Gray is simply neutralizing. So like I said before, here's an example of maybe this t-shirt right here. It definitely looks like it has a color cast. What color cast it is, we don't really know, but this should be neutral. Whatever the R value is, the G and the B should be the same. So if it's red is 50, green and blue should be 50 also. That means it's a neutral color, no color cast, and it's equally balanced. So what we want to do is come over to our tools. We're going to come over to the side over here. And it's going to be in the eyedropper family, but nestled in it is going to be the color sample tool. It's the third one down. It's an eyedropper with a little target point showing. So with this tool, we're going to click on an area so that we can see what the RGB values are. We'll see which color is winning the tug of war, and then when we fix it, we should see that balance out. So we're going to click on his shirt here, and I switched to the caps lock button just to get a crosshair so I know exactly where I'm sampling. So caps lock gave me a more pinpointed cursor. So I'm going to click once there. And then I'm going to uncaps lock, so I'm out of it. Notice that this put a color sample point, it numbered it number 1, and it popped open an info box up here. So when we look at this, as we move around where I'm sampling, all those numbers are changing. Wherever I'm hovering over, they're changing. But what we do see is number 1 right here. That's our first point that we made. Red is 150, green is 163, blue is 120. So green is big time winning the tug of war. Red is coming in a close second, and blue is losing. So really the average of these three numbers is a nice neutral gray, and we're nowhere near that yet. All right. Now that we have this point set up, we're going to go back to our levels panel up here. And we're going to pick the gray point eyedropper, this one right here, and we're going to click to sample in this same spot. We know it's wrong, so we're going to click to sample there. And voila! Is it perfect? Not necessarily, but it sure is better, isn't it? When we look at the sample point and hover over it right now, we have better numbers for sure. So that clicked, and whatever color combination that was, it chose to make it more balanced. If we look at number 1, the spot that we started with, these were the starting numbers, and now these are the numbers that the gray eyedropper tool resulted in. 145, 146, 145. Pretty much dead equal, but green won by a smidge, but nothing that you're going to notice. This is a neutral color cast. Now, there is no color cast, it's a neutral gray. So, by identifying part of the image that should be neutral, something that you know has a color cast and shouldn't, You can first sample it with the color sampler tool to find out that it's not right, but then you can use this middle tool at that spot to balance this image. I would just have to say that this still doesn't look great. So the black point, if you were to click on that, wherever you sample is something that should be true black, very black, no detail showing. So I'm thinking maybe this t-shirt right here, maybe way back here in the piano, maybe right here, because other things I don't want to be pitch black, not their eyes or whatever. So I might sample right here in this chair for my black point. And woo, that's not so good. But I'm also going to sample with my white sample. And what is something that should be bright white? No color cast, but definitely bright white. I don't know if someplace in her sweater, the brightest point. Maybe some of these white points up here. Not real sure, so I'm just going to try. Sometimes the more you do this, the worse it gets. Woo, that's a little dramatic. I might take my white sample point and try something in her sweater again, rather than that point up there. It's a little bit better. Maybe her eyeball should be real white. I think this is going to be a bad example. Yep, that got too bright. Oh, you get the idea. I'm going to reset this bad boy because it's too much. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the reset icon. And I'm going to let my computer catch up. I am going to do the gray sample point. I'm going to sample right here. And that's a pretty good fix. I don't like it yet. There's no real dark black in it, so I am going to try to find a darker point yet. I'll maybe go back here. So yellow. It's really disappointing. All right, I'll try one more on a white point. And I'll go right here. There we go. Finally happy with the result. So the white sample point in the brightest part of her sweater where there really wasn't any detail, I don't want to go in an area where I see things because that's good detail. I want to go to the most naturally blown out white I can find. So I'm happy with that. That's decent. So this is how I use the eyedroppers within levels rather than pulling on any of these, the black point or white point, channel by channel or otherwise. This is staying in the main RGB composite and using these eyedropper tools instead. So I have a couple of pictures that I'd like to practice with, and I really encourage you to do this. So if you do a file open and you go back to the images that you downloaded that I put in here extra for today. So for me, those are on my desktop and they're in a folder called Chapter 4. Oh no, they're in downloads, good grief. Downloads, Chapter 4. There is an image in here called Puppy and Child. Puppy and Child. Let's just go with the JPEG. For some reason I have a PSD in here. Just open the JPEG. And this is going to be an image that desperately needs some color correcting. So we're going to take a peek at this. And we're going to see what we could maybe do to improve this. So one thing that's lacking is contrast, right? There's definitely no white, there's definitely no pitch black, and it's just really washed out and lack of contrast. So if we come to our image and we make a adjustment layer of levels, I've already sampled 2 points on this image. So I've already done the color sample tool. I've already put one, number 1 is on the chest of the puppy. I assume that that's white. And I did another sample point on this girl's shirt. I don't know if that's white or pink, or I don't really know what it's supposed to be. But if I look at the numbers, number 1 on the puppy's chest, red is winning the tug of war. 216, it's way overpowering green and blue. On this spot that we sampled, red is again winning, then blue, then green. So we know there's a color cast. I could, in theory, use this tool and maybe sample back here where I think it should be black. So I'm going to just sample back here, number 3. And I can see, again, red is the bully in this image. So there's a huge red color cast here. So I'm going to come back over to my levels, and I'm going to pick what should be white. I'm going to use the white one first and see how this goes. I'm going to sample on the puppy's chest. Well, at least that got good. I'm going to use my black sample and sample back here. Wow, huge improvement. And I'm maybe going to try my mid-tone and check on number 2 so that there's no color cast there and see what this does to our whole image. Actually just kind of warmed it up a little bit more red in it. So this image is a huge improvement from what you had started with to what we have now. And you can decide, I know this should be white, I know this should be black, or you know what, there's just a color cast going on. There's something funky with her skin tone. If I turn all these off again, turn our levels off. Okay, there we go. We're back to our original levels point. If I started with the mid-tone, looking for color, trying to neutralize the color and clicked on number 2, that would have been our starting point. So it definitely took care of the red color cast, but there's not enough contrast. I could have then gone to white and tried the puppy. And the one that really does the most is getting some black in there. There's no contrast. So clicking on the black, this is what we get. So this is a really good tool. I think you can make some really excellent changes with this tool also. So we are now comparing. I'm going to close this puppy and child because we're done with that one. We don't need to save it. It was just a practice file. But if we get back to the picture of, oh, who are their names? I don't know. Bob and Sue, I'll call them. Can't remember their names. Anyway, we have seen the eyedrop levels is that version. Manual gives us that look. And the color balance gives us this look, which I think is the worst. So we have 3 different examples here. Before we are done with this chapter, I'm going to show you one more, but we're not going to use this image anymore. So this is practicing 3 different versions of color correcting on this one image to find the best one. And again, I probably think the eyedropper is the best. So you can save this if you wish. Otherwise, we are going to close this file and start our last process with a new picture.